Good morning, and thank you guys so much for joining us today. This, of course, is a special show with special panelists today, and we are going to be celebrating, if you don't know, it is Falls Prevention Week. And if you did perchance tune in this past Thursday for the Thursday with AARP Wisconsin show, we had our friends from WEHA on talking a little bit about Falls Prevention Week, but this week, we're going to be kicking it off with a special coalition. So I want to thank you so much. Thank you for joining the Milwaukee County Falls Prevention Coalition and AARP Wisconsin as we celebrate National Falls Prevention Week. So we are joining people and organizations all across the country and taking time this week to recognize the importance of fall prevention and learning more about the resources to prevent falls. We will be with you for about the next 20 to 25 minutes to talk about why falls are such a big issue and the importance of taking steps to prevent those falls. So I'm joined by an all-female panelist. So I'm actually excited about that. So I'd like to introduce our guest today. So we have Ms. Susie Ryer. She's with Advocate Aurora Health and co-leader of the Milwaukee County Falls Prevention Coalition. Hello, Susie. We also have Becky Schmidt with Milwaukee County DHHS Division on Aging. Hello, Becky.
Good morning.
Morning. We have Carmen Pangalanan, and I always slaughter your name. I'm so sorry, Carmen, but with the Wauwatosa Health Department. Carmen, can you say your last name for me, please?
You were pretty close. Pangalanan.
Okay, I'm going to practice it. Thank you so much, Carmen. We also have Miss Candy Hoyt. She is the peer leader with Stepping On and also a coalition member. Hello, Candy.
Good morning.
Hello. And if you are watching this live, we of course invite you to share where you're from. There's a comment box below if you want to share what organization or who you are, what city location that you're with. And also feel free to share this video on your Facebook page. We're going to be talking about a lot of information, as we know, as we're launching National Falls Prevention Week. So once again, put your information below. We'd love to give you a shout out. And next, I'm going to turn it over to Susie to talk a little bit more about the coalition.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amber. We're really glad to be here today. And now that I figured out how my mute button works, I'm really excited to talk a little bit about our coalition and the efforts for this week. So I'll start off by telling you a little bit about our coalition. The Milwaukee County Falls Prevention Coalition. We're an interprofessional group of community members, health systems, government organizations, and our goal is really to bring people together and to have a framework to help us to promote fall screening and prevention efforts here in Milwaukee County. I want to give a special shout out to several of our organizations who've been so critical in planning this week's events. The Milwaukee County DHHS Division on Aging, our partners here with an Advocate Aurora Health, the Milwaukee County Fire Department, Wauwatosa Health Department and Fire Department, and also the United Community Center. So as we transition into looking at why fall prevention is such a big deal, I want to start out with some somewhat scary statistics. 1 in 4 Americans over the age of 65 falls each year. And here in the state of Wisconsin, we are actually ranked #1 in the nation in falls, almost 3 times higher than the national average. So we know falls are just a really big issue that impacts the older adults in our community. Now, often people will say to me, not everyone gets hurt when they fall. And you certainly would be right on that. But one of the things that we know is that once you fall, you're at a much higher risk of falling again and suffering more serious injuries. And as we can see, obviously, there's these numbers are kind of catastrophic. So as we start to think about what we can do, the really good news is that falls are definitely preventable. And there's a lot of fairly easy steps that you can do to start taking some action and make a big difference. So as we get moving into that, I'll start with the first step here. So the first thing is you want to know what your fall risk is. And so there's 3 key questions you can ask yourself to know if you're at risk for falls. 1, have you had a fall in the past year? Do you worry about falling? Or do you feel unsteady when standing or walking? There's a couple of great resources out there that you can very easily go through your fall risk. The first one is the National Council on Aging's Falls Free Checkup. And this is an online tool. It asks 12 questions. It's free, and as you go through and fill out this online questionnaire, it will give you some suggestions for how you can address your fall risk. It'll email you a nice tool that you can take and have a conversation with your provider or your physician. And that tool can be accessed through our website, which is scrolling below. There's also a great brochure called Stay Independent from CDC's STEADY program, which can walk through the same kind of questions. So once you know if you're at fall risk, then you'll be able to go to your physician or maybe a physical therapist or other healthcare provider to have a more detailed assessment of those risk factors that may be important to you. The second step in fall prevention is going to be to make sure that you participate in a good balance and exercise programs. So one of the best tools we have available to us for healthy aging as well as fall prevention is exercise. A really good exercise program for fall prevention is going to address your flexibility, your balance, and also your strength. There's several great programs out there. One that we are really lucky to have here so ingrained into our county and into our state is Stepping On. This is a 7-week program that's offered to address exercise and other risk factors of falls. It's evidence-based, and it's been shown to reduce falls by about 30% in those who participate. It can be done in person in a group setting. It also is available online. And we'll have a link for you to be able to look up how to access those, as well as you can get to those through our website. I'd love to know if there's people out there who've been involved in a Stepping On program. If anyone watching has had any experience with Stepping On or other exercise programs, we'd love to hear what your experience with that has been. We have several classes coming up here in the next couple weeks, including one at the Wisconsin Athletic Club in Wauwatosa, as well as one at Aurora Sinai Medical Center. So there's still spots available to get going on your Stepping On journey very soon here. Next, the third thing that we want to talk about is reviewing your medications with your doctor or your pharmacist. So many medications that we take or combinations of medications can increase your risk of falls. So it's really important to make sure that your healthcare professionals know everything that you're taking, particularly if you're having falls, so that they can look at those medications, determine if there's any interactions or concerns. It's also really important to make sure that they know about anything over the counter you're taking, so they can look for those interactions. The fourth step that we want to focus on is making sure that you get your vision and your hearing checked regularly. So we know that having vision issues can actually double your risk of falls. So it's really important to make sure that those are working well to support having good balance, to make it easier when you're walking. So those eye exams should happen every year, and more frequently if you have known issues with your eyes, like a diagnosed eye problem or diabetes. There's lots of things that can be done to support vision and hearing to allow you to interact better with the environment. It might include a referral to a specialist, a vision specialist, or an occupational therapist to help with some of those modifications. So these are just some simple things that you can do. And as we talk more about the events we're offering this week, there'll be more opportunities to learn about some great ways to address these risk factors.
Great. Thank you so much, Susie. We appreciate it. And just those 4 steps are something that people probably can even start today. I know I've mentioned no matter at any age, we should be mindful of our surroundings, because I always tell the story that I slipped on a piece of paper in my living room and fell. It can happen to anyone at any time. So thank you so much, Susie. So next, I'd love to introduce Miss Candy Hoyt. And Candy, I had the pleasure of meeting about 2 years ago and some change when the coalition first started. Candy is going to talk a little bit more about Stepping On and also her firsthand experience with Stepping On. And I just want to say too, Candy invited me to shadow, and this was pre-COVID, one of the sessions of Stepping On, and I learned so much, just even how to properly get in and out of the car. So I want to turn it over to Candy for her to talk more. Thank you so much, Candy.
Thank you, Amber. Good morning, everyone. As a senior member of this coalition, I will be sharing a personal perspective on falls and how they affect our lives. I had several falls a few years ago that sent me in and out of the hospital. I finally wound up in rehab for about 5 weeks. I can assure you that we can return to independent living after a fall by making a few simple changes in our daily lives. Let me be clear. Falls and the injuries they can cause are no joke. As we age, we know that it takes longer to heal. Injuries can cause pain, depression, isolation, and sometimes even perhaps a temporary loss of independence. Needing help and asking for it after a fall is a change that's not easy to make. Most of us are very used to doing things for ourselves, and waiting for assistance from someone can certainly be frustrating. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just think about how happy your family and friends will be to help you and to know that you are safe. As we go through this sometimes not so fabulous aging process, there are times when we just need to do things differently. I now have some back issues and I sometimes use a walker. It took me a while to think of it as a help rather than a sign of getting older. I know that I walk better and faster and can go farther because of it. On my better days, I use a cane, and to make me feel better about that, a friend decorated it with bling. Before I could come home from rehab, they did a home visit to make sure it was safe. The first thing to go had to be those throw rugs. Keeping clutter and anything else, even bedding, off the floor was also an important change. A few other things I do differently since my falls are not running for the phone, keeping my cell phone on me wherever I am, getting up from a chair slowly and making sure I find my balance after I get up. I make sure I can feel the chair on the back of my legs before I sit back down. Some people have even put Amazon Echoes in several rooms of larger houses and programmed important phone numbers in for voice-activated calls. I had some friends come and help organize my kitchen and store things in cabinets at levels easier for me to reach. If I need something too high for me to reach or a light bulb changed, I ask someone taller to help me. When I go to the grocery store, I take a cart from the parking lot into the store to help me walk there. I make a list of health issues and questions before my doctor appointment, so I don't forget to talk about things that are bothering me or are different, no matter how slight they may seem. If I have a medication problem, even if it's something I've taken for a long time, I contact my pharmacist. On the bright side, I now know how important it is to be your own best advocate and to ask as many questions as it takes to get the best explanation. Because of what I experienced with my falls, I'm actually better off. I have learned a lot about myself and what works and doesn't work for me, but it wasn't easy. I did find a very worthwhile class that presents senior safety as well as balance and strength exercises to prevent falls. It's called Stepping On, and I'm lucky enough to be a peer leader in that program. It is available as an online or an in-person class. Information is available on the Wisconsin Institute for Healthy Aging and the Milwaukee County Department of Aging websites. I talk to friends, neighbors, and yes, even strangers about fall prevention, especially if I see someone struggling. But making simple changes to keep ourselves safe and prevent falls will enable us to enjoy independent, full, rewarding lives with our family and friends.
Thank you so much, Candy. And like I said, I'm your biggest fan. When I met you 2 years ago and just hearing your story, it's such inspiration to folks to know that there's resources out there, and Stepping On is just one of them. So Candy, thank you as always, and I appreciate you very much. And we'll see you
Thank
just
you,
in a
Amber.
few minutes as we bring the panel all back up. Thank you, my dear. If you are just joining us right now, we are doing the official Milwaukee County Falls Prevention Coalition kickoff because this week is National Falls Prevention Week. And even though we're highlighting just 1 week, we should also keep in mind that this could be every day, that we should be making sure that people know about the resources and information out there. So of course, we know that we've talked about the importance of fall prevention, and we've had several opportunities for you to join us this week to get jumpstart on knowing your risk factors and taking steps to address them. So I do want to introduce Carmen and Becky, and why I have you both on the screen. I'd love to, producer Darren, if we could just pull up some of the comments for some of the folks that are joining us today. We'd love to say a special hello to them. And Becky and Carmen, you guys are on mute, but we're going to bring it up. So we have Taylor. She goes, hi, I'm Taylor. I'm a public health nurse at South Milwaukee St. Francis Health Department. So thank you so much, Taylor, for joining us. We have Anna from United Community Center, also known as UCC, also a member of the coalition. We have John with Transitional Care Network. Thank you so much, John. So we want to thank everybody for joining us. And if you would love to get a shout out, you could just put your information in the chat function and we'll bring it up. So I'm going to turn it over to Carmen and Becky to talk about all the fun and interesting things for going on this week.
Yeah, thanks so much, Amber. So wonderful context and background from Susie about the importance of fall prevention and the steps you can take. And then Candy sharing very personally, how it affected her life and advocating for all of you to take some next steps for your own fall prevention. So we are very excited to announce this year's lineup of events that we have going on this week. Last year, we weren't able to do anything in person, so we're really excited this week that we're able to offer 2 in-person events. So I'm going to start off. Tomorrow, we will be out at Hart Park Senior Center, which is in Wauwatosa. This is going to be an outdoor, free from falls resource fair. We're going to have lots of experts, a lineup of stations on different categories of fall prevention, screenings, fun giveaways. Please come out and join us. That's tomorrow at Hart Park Senior Center in Wauwatosa, and it's going to run from 10 to 12. So stop by anytime. We're all watching the weather and hoping that we have nice weather for that, but we will have tents and you can come, rain or shine, we will be there. Wednesday, we have a provider lunch and learn. This is really an online event targeting professionals. The title for that is Connecting Healthcare and the Community to Prevent Falls. And we have a really nice interdisciplinary panel with professionals from healthcare. We've got EMS, public health. There's someone from our division on aging. And our goal is to share among professionals strategies to help us all improve connections across our systems and lead to a more comprehensive approach to fall prevention. So that's exciting. That's on Wednesday. And you can go to the MCFPC website to get the link for that. And then finally, Thursday is our second in-person resource fair. That will be at Clinton Rose Senior Center, which is on Martin Luther King Drive. Again, it's from 10 to 12. And we really hope you can come out and join us for one of those. We're very excited to share that our county executive, David Crowley, has proclaimed this Falls Prevention Awareness Week here in Milwaukee County as well. So we have strong support for these events and for this initiative. He will be stopping by our in-person events to see what's going on and greet folks there. So we're very honored to have his involvement. And we've also invited some of our other local leaders, our state legislators, our local county supervisors, our older persons, because this is such an important initiative. And it is a very valuable effort within the community. So all that said, I'm going to turn it over to Carmen to give you a lot more detail about some of the fun stuff that's actually going to be going on at those resource fairs.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah, it does look like good weather, so hope we see you out there on Tuesday and Thursday. So a lot of the things that Susie was talking about, these steps that we need to take to prevent falls, we are going to be able to provide a lot of these resources to you at these Free from Falls resource fairs. So just to tell you a little bit more, when you arrive, you would get this passport, which you see on the screen, and we'll have separate stations set up where we hope that you go stop at each station. And the first one we want you to stop at is the fall screening station. This is where you'll start. You'll get your passport to better health. Again, there's going to be local experts at each of the stations to help out. There's going to be lots of fun giveaways. So when you stop at the fall screening, you'll get asked some questions about your fall risk, and then you'll kind of walk away knowing a little bit more about where you are in your risk for falls. And all of these stations are going to be very interactive. So after that, then you head over to home safety. You can learn about resources to keep your home safe. And there'll be an activity where you can look at different rooms and identify where there's some potential safety hazards, so you can avoid those in your own home. Then next, you can head over to the vision and hearing screening. You can get screened for both your vision and your hearing, and you'll learn a little bit more about how deficits in vision or hearing can contribute to your risk of falls, and how important it is to address those things. And then head over to footwear. This is where you can find out more information about the correct footwear that will keep you safest when you're out and about, when you're on your feet. And then you can find resources where, if right now you find out, these shoes that I'm wearing, these aren't really the safest for me. We'll have resources there so you can find out where you can actually find safer footwear for you. Then I think this one's going to be really fun. There's an exercise station where we're going to have people doing examples and samples of different exercises for balance and strength. There'll be some fun music. So that'll be a great opportunity to get some ideas about some fun exercises that you can do to keep yourself strong. And then last, we'll just have you stop at the info desk where you turn in your passport for a prize. There's going to be some really fun stuff. And there's some additional resources there for you just to wrap up the event. So really hope to see lots of folks out there. Look at our website for reminders of all this information. I know we've given a lot of information today. So you can find all of this at www.mcfpc.net.
Great. Thank you so much, Carmen and Becky. I do have to say, I love myself a passport event. Always love those because you get so much information and then you usually get a really nice little giveaway at the end. So I would love to invite all the panelists back. And then also there were two people I'd love to also bring up their comments. We have Melissa Lydecker, and she is with Bridgeway Independent Living Designs, also known as BILD. She's a PT and accessibility consultant, also part of the coalition. Thank you so much, Melissa. And then, of course, Sweet Ann, another fan of our lovely Candy. So thanks, Candy, for sharing your story and strength. And I would love to ditto that also. So as Carmen said, we have given you a lot of information, but really you can find it all at that website, and we'll make sure that we put it up, and it's also in the notes. So as we wrap up this short session, we want you to walk away with a couple next steps. So number one, take the Falls free checkup online. And once again, maybe you're watching this now and you're like, I don't need that. Maybe you don't need it, but maybe a loved one needs it. So I'm a big advocate of being proactive, not reactive. So imagine getting all this really great information on the front end. Also make a commitment to address one area of fall risk, and Susie was talking about those earlier during the presentation. Join us for one of the in-person events that Becky and Carmen were talking about. And once again, all of that, the locations and information can be found at the website. Also visit the Milwaukee County Prevention Coalition, Falls Prevention Coalition website, and find more helpful resources. If you go on there, and maybe this is the first time you've even heard about the coalition, there's so much great valuable information on there about stepping up, about the coalition, all the impact that we're doing in Milwaukee County. So I definitely encourage you to visit. And even though, once again, that we're celebrating falls prevention just this week, we want to highlight it. The coalition is working on this all the time. We're working on it monthly, weekly, daily. So we just want to make sure that you have all the valuable information that you need. And of course, we hope to see you out there. There's just going to be a lot of activities. And so we do have a couple minutes left. So we're happy to take any questions that you might have, encourage other stories that maybe that you've taken the Stepping On class, or that you have a loved one that would be needing some additional information. So we'll just give it one other minute. Susie, I'd like to turn it over to you on any final comments for the kickoff of Falls Prevention Week.
Yeah, thank you, Amber. I think you hit on a really important point that this is something that goes on year long, and that we don't have to address everything all right away. Even taking just one step and just thinking about something that you can do, even just raising that awareness, as you said about prevention. We are so much more successful in addressing falls if we can do it when we haven't had a fall, or even if we're just starting to think about how do I age successfully, how do I stay as strong and independent as I can. And so it's never too early, to start thinking about little things that you can do and just raising that awareness, and to the point of thinking about people in your lives, friends, loved ones, other individuals, having those conversations about some of these scary statistics and how simple it is to just take a fall screening and just to start thinking about it. It really is something you can start, like you said, as soon as you log off of our presentation today and start looking at.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank all the lovely panelists. I'm very lucky to be part of this coalition. I think AARP Wisconsin, of course, AARP is a known name, but there's so many members of this coalition that people probably don't even know that are involved. So that's why we encourage you, please check out the website. So much information. We want to see you at events this week, of course. Masking and socially distancing will be required, but still there's information. Even if it's not for you, take it to your neighbor, take it to your loved one. And also, please share this video on your Facebook page or your YouTube page. The more that we can get this video out so people are aware of the resources in Milwaukee County, we're just making such impact in our community. So thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate you, Becky, Carmen, Candy, and Susie, for being on. And thank you to our producer, Darian, for producing such a great show. So thank you so much, and make sure that you check out the Milwaukee County Falls Prevention Coalition website for information on all upcoming events for this week. And thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Take care.